What is going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we've got a crazy video. GameStop is on fire, and it just seems like there is no end in sight. There is people making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars on this stock, and I want to explain kind of what's going on with GameStop, and obviously the reactions that it's gotten from the Wall Street hedge funds and the likes of everyone who's been involved. So basically a Reddit group called Wall Street Bets, I'm sure we all know of them by now, came together and they actually did research into the stock and didn't just pick something to pump at random. They researched into, or somebody on that forum researched into GameStop, seeing that it was being shorted over 100%. I think it was like 120% shorted, or it could have been even like 140% shorted, which obviously means they're shorting more than the shares that are available on the market. Someone saw that and decided that they could go at GameStop and force a short squeeze. So a short squeeze would be when people buy the price and the price starts to go up a lot. Your short starts to lose money. So basically when you short a stock, you're in essence borrowing stock from somebody else who has it already, and then you sell it for the cash, planning to buy it back later whenever the expiration date of the contract of your short with that person expires. So if you were in the beginning of a month, got a short for the end of the month on a $10 stock, let's say, and you shorted the stock for whatever, 100 shares, you would get 100 shares at $10 from somebody, and then your plan would be the stock to go down in value by the end of the month. So if the end of the month came around and the stock was $5, you would buy back the 100 shares for $5 a share and give it back to the other person you borrowed from, pocketing the $5 per share profit, basically. So this could go the other way, and obviously if the stock goes up in value, you start losing money. So this isn't like a put option or these types of or even buying a stock in general, where your maximum loss is your amount of money you put in. So if you bought a share of a $10 stock, your maximum loss is $10. When you short a $10 stock, your maximum loss goes up as the stock raises in price because you have to buy the stock back. So if you have a $10 stock and it goes up to $20, you've lost $10 because you got to get that back. If it goes up to $50, you've lost $40. So your losses are in essence unlimited. It can just go on forever. So that's where it can relate back to GameStop in terms of it was one of the most shorted companies on the market because it's a failing company. I think a lot of people would agree that GameStop really wasn't going anywhere. They were going bankrupt and things like that, having a lot of trouble, keeping cash flow and everything. But a lot of like major players, hedge funds, institutional guys, shorted the stock, determining it was worthless, basically trying to push the price down. And Wall Street Bets came in and started pumping the stock. So they did this in multiple ways of just buying the stock upright, and seeing it go up. And then they were also buying call options, so that gives you the right to buy 100 shares. So that goes more in depth, where if you buy a call contract, you force the brokerage or somebody to buy 100 shares of that stock whenever you buy the contract, because obviously if it goes up, then you have the right to buy 100 shares at whatever price your contract is. And the brokerage doesn't want to buy them, if they're up. It wants to buy them at whatever you buy the contract. So if you make it up there, you can execute the contract, and whoever bought the shares, market makers, brokerages, hedge funds, whatever bought them, can sell them to you and make money doing that instead of, having to buy 100 at whatever price and sell them to you at the price of your option, which it would lose money, and they can't do that. It all gets very confusing, but it all is insane to think about that a group of people on Reddit came together and absolutely bankrupt hedge funds on GameStop. So getting more in depth of what is going on exactly with GameStop and the pump we're seeing, it is going up and has been going insane because there's a limited supply of shares. So basically, there is only X amount of shares. And if you buy a bunch of contracts, buy a bunch of shares, and they have shorted more than the shares that are available on the market, it was shorted like 120%. So by doing that, you basically have the upper hand in everything. You own the shares that the people who shorted it need to buy back to execute their shorts or clear up their shorts. So in this situation, somebody has all of the shares, all of the power, and somebody else needs it. And what you can do is refuse to sell until you get a price that you're willing to sell at. A lot of people in Wall Street bets, I've seen like $1,000 floated on in there. If they just hold and refuse to sell, then this can go on for however long until the first person crumbles and sells their positions. Then you come into an even more conundrum. If the goal is $1,000, if the goal is 1,000 and everybody knows that because they've been posting it, then someone's going to sell it $990 to secure their gains. And then someone's going to sell it $980 and then $970. People are going to keep selling lower, so you don't really know where people are going to start selling off. And once it starts selling off, it's probably going to drop like a rock. So although a lot of people are seeing this, seeing so many people saying they've made money, and there's been plenty of people who've made hundreds of thousands, if not millions. I think one person has made $22 million off of his GameStop calls and stuff. But he's had these things for like 6 months or something. It's a crazy story, but the majority of people will be left holding the bag, unfortunately. There will be like 80-90% of people who are involved in GameStop are going to get caught holding the bag because once people start selling, and if they're selling a lot of shares, the price will plummet. There will just be a huge decline. So it won't even be gradual decline. You can sell out. It will go from like $315 to $215 to $90. It will be a rough fall. So put all of that together, you have the perfect storm from GameStop and from Wall Street and this Reddit group, retail investors, of just being able to bully a hedge fund, which is actually really hilarious when you think about it. I think there's been a hedge fund that's lost like $5 billion from these shorts that they had, and it is super, super crazy. So to end this all off, I'm making this later and after hours, and GameStop has actually had insane volatility. It was all the way down to, it went from $315 a share down to $215 or $230 a share, and right now it's at $292. And we are gonna have to wait till pre-market or market open tomorrow to see what happens. But even bigger news is this tweet, which I think is crazy. Basically saying the NASDAQ president says we will monitor social media chatter and will halt stock if we match chatter with unusual activity in stocks. So basically saying they're going to freeze trading on GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, and Nokia if they think that too many people are talking about it on social media and pumping the price up, which is ridiculous. Like, I don't know how I don't think anyone's behind this. Like, people, the responses are crazy. Like, oh, this is actually insane that they're doing this and freezing the markets. It's really pathetic, I say. But just something to keep in mind, if you're involved in these companies, there's a lot of risk. They were already extremely risky where they were now. There's even more risk with this tweet going out of them freezing trading, trying to attack back. This is a big, big battle of like billion-dollar hedge funds and billion-dollar institutional investors, the suits that people call them, versus, the average person, someone who has to make sure they save their money. They can't risk it all like this. And someone who isn't in a spot to either keep dumping money in or have the ability that these hedge funds and institutions have. But I think it's crazy. I think it's unfair, and I think they're going to mess with these stocks a lot come the rest of this week. I don't know when this video is either going up on Thursday, probably later Thursday. So I think we'll see what happens Thursday. But I think there's going to be a lot of people that get burned. I think this is a big scare tactic, and I think it might work because the average person can't afford to risk their money. But this is Wall Street bets, and they seem to be all in, and they seem to be absolutely livid with things that have been going on. They've been banned on Reddit. Their Discord got banned. They made a new one. They are very upset. I don't blame them. We'll see what happens. It's going to be neat to watch. I'm not involved in these trades, but it is definitely insane to watch them. So as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.